Power lies in individuality and the ability to see yourself through your own eyes and not through the eyes of another. Hi, I'm Christine Braun, and I am a highly sensitive person. And I have decided to share my journal entries with you, 20 years worth of journal entries and living as a highly sensitive person, because I feel like it will give you, through the art of storytelling, it will hopefully help you to not feel so alone, to feel like there's somebody else who feels as deeply as you do, who struggles with sensitivity like you do certain days, and that there's a way out, that there's so many tools, and there's so much depth that there is to explore for you, and it's really, really beautiful. So let's get right into it for today. This is from March 15th, 2008. We can only be what we give ourselves the power to be. Today, my goal is to be calm, collected, in the moment. I want to completely lose myself in any work, do each task without thinking about the next or worrying about not having enough time. Time is endless. Time is for me to enjoy. I will not worry. I will trust my spirit, my guardians, my fairies, my angels, that each day I will be filled with the breath of light. I remind myself that I am not the victim of my life. I have the opportunity and the duty to make decisions based on my own and my environment's best interest. I have to follow my heart, my dreams. I am strong. I am calm, not getting mixed up in the business of my surroundings. I am confident. I know that others' opinions of me matter very little, if at all. I am who I am for me, and if I follow my passions, my heart and body and soul will be at ease. I deserve to be happy and feel well. These next few months of school will be easy, quick, and they will teach me skills I can call upon later, such as patience, to speak to my mind even if I know others won't agree, to bypass embarrassment because others cannot judge me. And then I did something I do a lot of times in my journal. I will grab a card deck. And on this one, I grabbed the Power Deck Cards by Lynn Andrews. And I draw the card that said Individuality. When the shield carrier reaches the top of the mountain, she never seeks approval because approval is based on doubt. Your strength and wisdom are celebrated in your unique ability to view the experience of life with new vision. Power lies in individuality and the ability to see yourself through your own eyes and not through the eyes of another. To be in power, you must take your power and exist within your own individuality. Quite a powerful message. I have no doubt in my own abilities and my goodness and my passions and myself and my ability to succeed. The world is filled with approval and how others see you, your boss, your teacher, the head of the college you apply to, your clients. I will not get caught up in that. I will live my true identity. Some people will not understand and they will leave, but others will be attracted to my truth, my honesty, my self-worth. I have no doubt. I am at complete ease with myself. I thank my body for giving me no choice but to take the time to center myself and find my truth. I need no one's approval. Quite a journal entry. So I have made myself a couple of notes, even though I don't know if I made myself a note on that. Being that true identity, that was always the hardest for me growing up, highly sensitive, because I always felt like I was so different. I was so weird. I was so uncool, right? Everybody else was like cool and they wanted to hang out and they wanted to do stuff together and in a group, and these are the cool people and everybody looks up to them, and I was never really part of the in crowd. And so it's really hard to be myself because I didn't really like who I was, because I didn't feel like it could be accepted or loved, right? The other note that I made myself was from me saying I have the opportunity and duty to make decisions based on my own and my environment's best interest. How are you with decision making as a highly sensitive? I did a whole YouTube video on this, which I will link below, but oh my gosh, was it hard for me? Probably my early 20s is when I really realized that there, early 20s, you have so many decisions, important decisions, life decisions, right? Especially because adults are like, oh, these are going to impact you for the rest of your life. And you're going, oh, that's quite heavy, right? And now you're supposed to make like the best decision for the rest of your life. And you're just like, whew, that's a lot. So how are you with making decisions? Because I was always just either overthinking it. Like there are a couple of times I found myself in situations between having to choose between two men, right? Like, do I go back to an ex to pursue this new relationship? So it was between two men. And I would catch myself just in this like place of like deep hurt because I felt for both of these guys who knew exactly what was going on, shouting, pick me, pick me. And I would feel into who would I hurt less by my decision, right? And I wanted to use that as like my guideline of like, who am I going to choose? Because I don't know which one to choose. I'm going to choose the one who I'm going to hurt less, because then it'll hurt me less, right? This is like a complete total HSP in overstimulation. Where's going to be the path of least pain? Not the best way to make a decision. But we'll talk about that another day. I just want you to be aware of like, what am I feeling? From which place am I trying to make a decision? And the other big thing about decision making that was so hard for me is because I just didn't trust myself. I had not had enough life experience, but most of all, enough trust in myself to know that I could make good decisions. And it just felt so big. I didn't want the responsibility of possible potential failure, right? I was so afraid of failing, of making the wrong choice, that I didn't want to make a choice at all. Because if I let somebody else choose, or I follow somebody else's advice, then in my head I can rationalize, well, that was just a bad choice to go along with their decision. But I could, minimally beat myself up over that. It's like, oh, just a bad decision. You shouldn't listen to that person next time. But if that was my decision, I made it on my own account, I would beat myself up for months. Like, why did you do this? You messed up your life. What are you doing? So it's so interesting. So if you have a tough time making decisions, feel into it. What is it for you? Why are you not wanting to make decisions? And then this quote that I got from the card: when the shield carrier reaches the top of the mountain, she never seeks approval, because approval is based on doubt. What comes to mind for you on that, right? Like such a beautiful imagery, this vision of this woman carrying, or man carrying, this flag to the top of the mountain, right? It's like, wow, this is a huge feat. And yet they don't do it out of approval. They probably do it out of a sense of duty, but there's never any doubt that they can make it, right? They're going to make it to the top or die trying, basically. It was just such a testament for me of this internal power that you can choose to feel. And for me, it's all about self-worth, right? It's like, I don't need the approval of someone else when I have plenty of self-worth. In my teenage years, early 20s, I was seeking approval from outside of me all the time, especially in the form of relationships, right? And especially in the form of men who would give me attention. That's when I would feel worthy. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I must be a good person. I must be beautiful. I must be interesting. I must be, these different things if I get this attention from other people. Ooh, that can be a very slippery slope. And I just had to, piece by piece, journal entry by journal entry, really fortify that self-worth, cultivate, find it again and cultivate this self-worth deep within me, to not need that approval from the outside, to know who I am and that I'm worthy of love, worthy of a good life, worthy of feeling fulfilled. And then this quote, to be in power, you must take your power and exist within your own individuality. Oh, that's so beautiful. I guess I did put it in there. I already spoke about that. Individuality, find your uniqueness, embrace your uniqueness, right? We have a tough time as highly sensitives growing up when we didn't know we were highly sensitive, when our parents didn't know we're highly sensitive. We often feel like the black sheep of the family, right? I do, because I was always so different. All the other kids, right? I had, 5 siblings all together when my dad remarried. Everybody else seemed to have it so easy, and they could just fall right in line and they'd have a great time together. And I was always incorporated, but I always felt like the odd one out. I always felt, I don't know, like I just couldn't be there and enjoy it as much as the other kids. And it was probably because of overstimulation, probably because I needed more me time, more space, more alone time, more time to come back to my own senses rather than having so much going on the outside. I mean, if you imagine, I can't imagine. I have 1 kiddo. I can't imagine having 6 kids. We must have been very well behaved. There's another thing that I did in this journal entry, which I do quite frequently, and that is like affirmations, writing down affirmations, I am statements. So powerful. I'm sure you've come across it. Stating it in the positive. You'll see in my journals, I didn't always state it in the positive. You reach for wherever you can. And I feel like people talk about this in terms of like, oh, fake it till you make it. I don't quite see it that way. It doesn't quite feel that way to me. To me, when you say fake it till you make it, it's like putting on somebody else's jacket, right? And you know that it's never gonna fit and it's never gonna be your own, versus kind of feeling into it, right? Writing an affirmation and then feeling into it, right? Feeling like, what would this feel like if I actually felt like this was true, if I actually felt like I felt worthy, if I actually felt loved, if I actually felt safe, if I actually felt inspired, what would that feel like? So for me, it's more like seeing this beautiful dress and then trying it on and going, oh my gosh, this could be really good. Maybe this will be my new favorite thing, right? How can I make this my own? How can I grow internally? How can I grow my spirit and soul? How can I bring out my spirit and soul more into this human life in order to fill this dress in a way that's going to look incredible, right? So they're 2 very different feelings for me, this fake it till you make it versus affirming, right? Choosing an affirmation that feels good to you, something that you'll have to reach for a little bit, but something that you feel you can start to fill from the inside out, right? Let me know if that makes any sense to you. And then the last one, I'm sure you were like, what is this like last sentence that she finished her journal with? I was like, I thank my body for giving me no choice but to take the time to center myself and find my truth. I honestly believe that my health issues, right, gut issues, headaches, migraines, feeling bloated, feeling nauseous all the time, those kind of health issues, I was of course incredibly mad at them at the time. I'm sure in journals to come, we'll hear a lot more. Just never feeling good in my body, feeling like I was weak, feeling like I couldn't withstand what other people withstood, right? When I started college at UT, I was taking way too many classes, 3 lab classes, which was just insane. And every single day I would get a migraine. I would feel so nauseous on the way home from UT with the bus to my apartment. I couldn't wait to get into my apartment, grab an ice pack from the fridge and lay down and just like put it at the back of my head. That would be the only thing that kind of calm me down and kind of get that headache, that migraine to subside and get my tummy to kind of ease up from all that nausea. So I was really mad that I was feeling all these things and nobody could figure it out and what was going on. But it really started this beautiful path, and I think it's coming up in a journal in just a couple of days, where I am journaling about this movie, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And that was really the beautiful beginning of this spiritual journey, right? You can tell a little bit in these journals beforehand, but that was really the thing that just like resonated so deeply. And from that movie, I got to know Esther Hicks, right, who channels Abraham Hicks. And that was just like, whew, like a coming home and just such a huge like acceleration on my spiritual path. But yeah, if you have any kind of physical ailment going on in the moment, embrace it. I know it's hard sometimes. I know on days it's just like, oh my gosh, enough already. Embrace it. Your body is here to tell you it's too much. Slow down, sleep more, breathe more, find that center more, be at ease. You know, live into your personality, your highly sensitive trait versus trying to keep up with everybody else. And that's what I was trying to do at that age. So my body sent me this beautiful message of, you gotta slow down, right? Which I did. I remember having like such an awesome morning routine, right? I guess once I wasn't in college anymore, I would take later classes, so I'd have time in the morning. I would get up and I would grab my journal or a book and I would get on the treadmill for like 30 minutes just walking, and then I'd go to the pool and the sun deck, and I would still listen to like an author, a speaker, or a channel or something to kind of give me this like spiritual wisdom. I would just like always engulf myself in these spiritual wisdoms, because this is what was really changing my belief systems, changing my consciousness. I'm curious what you're doing. What are you listening to? What are you reading? I always want to know. And yeah, that's the end of the journal. I do want to remind you of this free gift that I have if you're having any challenges with your emotions, getting stuck in anger and depression and anxiety and overwhelm, any of these emotions, or being quick to react. Check out my free guide, my gift. You can find it on my website, youcanhealyourlife.com/shift. And you can download it. It's an awesome guide, quick to read. It has 3 steps where you can shift quickly out of any emotion that you want to shift and get on with your life at the moment, right? And then you can come back later and process those emotions more deeply. But anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.